They say it's normal. They say it's harmless. They say it's just something every man does. But let me ask you this. If masturbation is so harmless, why do so many men feel drained, guilty, and weaker after it? Why do so many struggle to focus, to stay motivated, to build discipline in their lives? The truth is, masturbation is not as harmless as society wants us to believe. In this session, we're going to talk about why men should stop masturbation, not just from one angle, but from every angle that matters. Biological, what it does to your body. Psychological, how it impacts your brain. Social, how it changes your relationships. Spiritual, how it disconnects you from your deeper purpose. And, most importantly, we'll look at the benefits of quitting and practical steps to help you stop. By the end of this, you'll see masturbation for what it really is. Not an innocent habit, but a subtle trap that drains men of their strength, their drive, and their masculinity. Section 1. Biological and physical effects. Let's begin with the physical and biological effects, because before anything else, masturbation impacts your body in ways most men don't realize. 1. Dopamine overload. Every time you masturbate, your brain releases a surge of dopamine, the pleasure chemical. At first, this feels good, but when you keep doing it over and over, especially combined with pornography, your brain becomes desensitized. That means normal, everyday pleasures, like enjoying a meal, talking with friends, or even being with a real woman, start to feel dull. Your brain literally rewires itself to crave only the artificial high of constant release. This is how addiction forms. You find yourself chasing stronger stimulation, more extreme videos, more frequent sessions, just to feel the same level of pleasure. The same way drugs hijack the brain, masturbation and porn hijack the male reward system. 2. Energy. Drain. Now let's talk about semen itself. Many people will say, it's just liquid, it doesn't matter. But science shows otherwise. Semen is made up of proteins, amino acids, enzymes, zinc, magnesium, and other vital nutrients that your body works hard to produce. When you constantly ejaculate, your body is forced to replenish these resources again and again. That's why many men feel tired, unmotivated, or foggy after masturbating. It's not just in your head. Your body is literally losing resources that could be used for muscle growth, brain function, and overall vitality. Imagine pouring water out of a bucket every day, faster than you can refill it. Over time, the bucket is always half empty. That's what frequent masturbation does to your energy. 3. Erectile dysfunction and sensitivity issues. There's another problem men don't like to talk about. Porn-induced erectile dysfunction. This happens when the brain becomes so conditioned to artificial stimulation that real intimacy doesn't excite it anymore. Countless young men today report they can't perform with a real partner because their brains are wired to pixels on a screen instead of real human touch. Even those who can perform often struggle with premature ejaculation or low sensitivity. This isn't just embarrassing, it destroys confidence and relationships. 4. Hormonal imbalance. Frequent masturbation can also throw off your hormonal balance. Testosterone, the hormone responsible for male strength, drive, and assertiveness, tends to stabilize with sexual discipline. When you constantly release, your testosterone spikes and crashes, leaving you with less stability, less focus, and less motivation. Section 2. Psychological effects. Now let's move from the body to the mind. Because while masturbation drains your body of energy, its effects on the brain and emotions can be even more damaging. 1. Mental fog and anxiety. Have you ever noticed how sharp and focused you feel on the days you control yourself compared to the days you give in? That's not an accident. Masturbation clouds the mind. After release, many men experience what's called a refractory period, a time when the brain becomes less alert, motivation drops, and energy crashes. Instead of waking up with clarity and drive, you wake up with fogginess and a lack of focus. And when this becomes a daily habit, your baseline mental clarity is lowered. That constant brain fog can translate into anxiety, because when your brain isn't sharp, you feel behind, disorganized, and restless. 2. Reduced confidence. One of the most noticeable psychological effects is a loss of confidence. Men who masturbate frequently often carry a subtle sense of shame. They know deep down they are wasting time, energy, and self-control. This guilt shows up in body language. It shows up in how you walk, how you talk, and even how you look people in the eyes. A man who lacks discipline in this area often avoids direct eye contact, slouches his shoulders, and feels less capable in social settings. Confidence is built on self-respect, and self-respect comes from keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say, "This is the last time," and then do it again, you weaken your trust in yourself. Over time, that inner conflict erodes your confidence. 3. Depression and emotional drain. There's also a strong link between compulsive masturbation and depression. Why? Because each release is followed by a crash. The dopamine high wears off, and you're left feeling empty. That emptiness can turn into sadness, loneliness, or regret. The dangerous part is that the cycle feeds itself. You feel down, so you masturbate for comfort. You feel guilty, so you masturbate again, and the cycle repeats. This is how men get trapped for years. Studies have shown that men with porn addiction often report higher rates of anxiety, social withdrawal, and depression. And the sad part? Many don't even realize what's causing it. They think, "This is just who I am." But in reality, it's the habit pulling their emotions downward. 4. Loss of motivation. The brain is wired to seek reward after effort. Normally, if you want pleasure, you have to earn it. You work hard, you build relationships, you achieve something, and then you feel rewarded. But masturbation short-circuits that system. It gives you the reward without the effort. Over time, your brain learns, "Why work hard when I can feel good instantly?" This kills motivation for bigger goals. Think about how many dreams die in the cycle of instant gratification. Instead of starting the business, writing the book, or getting in shape, a man wastes his willpower on temporary pleasure. Masturbation robs men of their ambition by tricking the brain into thinking it's already won. 5. Distorted perception of women and relationships. Finally, let's talk about how it shapes the way men see women. Constant masturbation, especially with pornography, conditions your brain to see women as objects for instant pleasure rather than human beings for real connection. This distorted perception damages relationships before they even begin. Instead of approaching women with respect, curiosity, and confidence, many men feel awkward, insecure, or disconnected because their brains are trained to fantasy instead of reality. In summary, psychologically, masturbation weakens men by clouding their minds, lowering their confidence, increasing depression, killing motivation, and warping their view of relationships. A man who lacks control in this area will never be as sharp, confident, or disciplined as he could be. Section 3. Social consequences. We've looked at the physical and psychological effects, but now let's step into something most men overlook: the social impact. Because masturbation doesn't just affect you privately. It changes how you show up in the world, how you connect with people, and how others see you. 1. Isolation. One of the biggest social consequences of constant masturbation is isolation. When a man is trapped in the habit, he often withdraws from real human connection. Instead of putting himself out there, building friendships, and creating relationships, he hides in his room, glued to a screen, satisfying his urges alone. Little by little, he replaces real intimacy with fantasy. And the more he indulges in that, the harder real connection feels. Talking to women becomes awkward. Making friends feels draining. Even family interactions start to feel distant. The result? He becomes more comfortable in isolation than in real life. And that's a dangerous place for any man to be. 2. Weakened masculinity. Masturbation also chips away at something essential: masculine strength. For generations, men were respected for self-control, discipline, and resilience. A strong man was someone who could master himself, not someone controlled by his urges. But when a man becomes dependent on constant release, he loses that edge. He feels weaker, less assertive, less commanding. His masculinity becomes softer, and not in a good way. Think about it. A man who can't even control himself in private will struggle to command respect in public. Whether it's at work, in relationships, or in leadership, his lack of discipline shows. People may not know why, but they can sense it. 3. Lost time and focus. Let's also be honest. Masturbation wastes time. Think about the hours spent searching for videos, scrolling through content, and chasing that next high. It may only seem like a few minutes at first, but add it up. Hours every week, days every month, entire months every year lost to a habit that gives nothing back. Time that could have been invested in skills, business, education, or health is gone. All for a few seconds of pleasure. This lost focus doesn't just affect productivity, it also affects your presence with others. Instead of being fully engaged in conversations, hobbies, or opportunities, your mind is distracted, drained, or numb from the habit. 4. Relationship struggles. For men who are already in relationships, masturbation can silently poison intimacy. Many women can sense when their man's energy is directed somewhere else. They notice when he's less present, less affectionate, or less driven. Over time, the habit can create distance, resentment, or even infidelity. And for single men, the issue is just as bad. Because instead of going out to meet women, improve social skills, or develop confidence, a man settles for an artificial substitute. The habit keeps him stuck in a cycle of passivity, never pushing him to grow socially. 5. Erosion of respect. Finally, there's the issue of respect, both self-respect and the respect others give you. When you're secretly ruled by a habit, you know it. And whether you realize it or not, people around you can often feel it too. They may not know the details, but they can sense when a man lacks self-control. Respect is built on mastery. When you control yourself, people take you seriously. When you don't, they see you as weaker. That's the social consequence of masturbation. It quietly erodes the respect you could earn from others, and the respect you owe yourself. In summary, socially, masturbation isolates men, weakens masculinity, wastes valuable time, harms relationships, and lowers respect. A man caught in the cycle may think it's only affecting him privately, but the truth is, it bleeds into every social aspect of his life.